Welcome back to part 2 of our sweet journey. In the last part, we introduced you to the magic of gingerbread towns. Today, we continue this delightful adventure. As our usual narrator, Fenella, is feeling a bit under the weather, we have a special guest. An old British gentleman will be guiding you on the enchanting journey of constructing a charming gingerbread town from scratch. Our town will embody precision and creativity, using gingerbread pieces of varying sizes and shapes. For this task, you'll need gingerbread dough, royal icing, and a whimsical collection candies and edible decorations. The main structure, a grand gingerbread house, will be surrounded by smaller cottages, each with individually crafted doors, windows, and decorative pieces. This project is a true testament to your creativity and imagination. So don't hold back and add your personal touch, making your gingerbread town a unique reflection of your festive spirit. At the end of this delightful adventure, you'll have a charming gingerbread town, a splendid creation to present to your friends and family. Shall we dive right in, old chap? First, gather all the necessary ingredients and materials. Let's talk about what we need to create our gingerbread town. To start, we'll need a good amount of gingerbread dough. This will form the basis of our structures. You can prepare this using your favorite recipe or try Nadiya Hussain's recipe for a classic, robust dough. You'll also need royal icing. This serves as the glue that holds our gingerbread structures together. It's easy to prepare with just 3 ingredients: egg whites, powdered sugar, and cream of tartar. If you want a pro tip, try whipping it up following Prue Leith's expertise for a sturdy, smooth icing. Next, let's talk about dimensions. For our main structure, the large gingerbread house, we'll need 2 rectangular pieces for the front and back, each measuring 15 centimeters by 20 centimeters. We'll also need 2 side pieces, each measuring 15 centimeters by 10 centimeters. The roof will be made up of 2 triangular pieces, with the base measuring 15 centimeters and the height adjusted based on your design preference. For the smaller gingerbread houses, adjust the proportions accordingly. The front and back pieces should approximately measure 10 centimeters by 15 centimeters each. The sides should be around 10 centimeters by 7.5 centimeters each, and the roof pieces should have a base of approximately 10 centimeters, with the height again being determined by your design preference. Don't forget to consider the thickness of your pieces. Try to roll out your dough to a thickness of around 1/4 inch. This will ensure that your pieces are sturdy enough to hold up, but not so thick that they become difficult to work with. Lastly, you'll need to craft doors, windows, and decorative elements. These can be of varying dimensions based on your design creativity, fitting the scale of each house. With all your ingredients and materials at hand, you're ready to start building. Now let's get our hands dirty and start constructing our gingerbread houses. First, we'll need to bring to life the architectural blueprints of our gingerbread structures. Roll out the gingerbread dough you've prepared to about 1/4 inch thickness. Using templates or cutters, carve out the pieces of our large and small gingerbread houses. Remember, precision is key here. We're looking for rectangles for the front, back, and sides, and triangles for the roofs. The dimensions vary depending on whether you're working on the main structure or the additional ones, so keep an eye on those measurements. Once you've got all your pieces cut out, it's time to turn up the heat. Bake them just right, following the instructions to the letter. We want them firm and ready to withstand the rigors of construction, but still deliciously gingerbready. Now comes the part where we need to exercise a little patience. Let your gingerbread pieces cool completely. Rushing this step could lead to a crumbly disaster, and we certainly don't want that. While waiting, you can start crafting your doors, windows, and other decorative elements. Be creative and remember to keep them to scale. With our pieces cooled and our decorations ready, it's time to assemble our houses. Prepare your royal icing. This will act as our cement. Attach the pieces securely, starting with the walls and finishing with the roof. For the smaller houses, just adjust the proportions accordingly. The royal icing will ensure a firm and stable structure, so don't skimp on it. Now get your decorator's hat on and start adding the doors, windows, and any other detail you fancy. Use the royal icing to stick them on, and feel free to use candies for additional decorations. Then let your assembled houses set for a while to ensure they're stable and secure. Great job! Your gingerbread houses are ready. Let's move on to the next step. Now that your houses are standing tall, it's time to add some character to them. The magic of constructing a gingerbread town lies in the details. crafting doors, windows, and other decorative elements is an art in itself, requiring a bit of patience, a dash of creativity, and a whole lot of fun. Let's start with the doors. These can be as simple or as intricate as you wish. Use a small rectangular cutter to create the door shape. For a touch of realism, consider adding a tiny candy doorknob or icing hinges. Windows, on the other hand, offer a peek into the cozy interior of your gingerbread houses. Again, a small square cutter will do the trick. You can fill these with crushed hard candy before baking for a stained glass effect, or pipe on window panes with royal icing after baking. But why stop at doors and windows? The sky is the limit when it comes to additional decorative elements. Think along the lines of shutters, porches, chimneys, and even gingerbread men to populate your town. Remember, these elements should fit the scale of your houses, so size them accordingly. Now, let's talk about decorating these houses. Candies and icing aren't just for eating, they're your palette for painting a vivid, festive scene. Use colorful candies to create pathways, gardens, and rooftops that sparkle. Royal icing, on the other hand, can be piped on to resemble snow, icicles, or even fancy architectural details. A few tips to keep in mind while decorating. Use a variety of candy shapes and sizes for visual interest. And don't be afraid to play with color. Bright, contrasting hues can make your gingerbread town pop, while a more monochromatic scheme can evoke a serene, wintry vibe. Most importantly, let your imagination run wild. This is your gingerbread town, after all. Each house is a canvas waiting for your creative touch. With a bit of time and effort, you'll transform these simple gingerbread structures into a charming, edible town that's full of character. Your gingerbread houses are now beautifully decorated. Let's arrange them into a town. It's time to bring your gingerbread town to life. Start by arranging the gingerbread houses into a charming layout. You might want to place the larger houses at the center and the smaller ones around them, or you might prefer a random arrangement. Let your creativity guide you. Once you've decided on the perfect layout, it's time to secure the houses together. That's where our trusted friend, royal icing, comes into play. Carefully apply icing to the base of each house and gently press it onto the surface. Make sure to keep the houses aligned and evenly spaced. If your town seems a bit wobbly, don't worry. Simply add more icing to any weak spots and let it set. Keep in mind, the icing not only holds the houses together, but also acts as snow, adding to the winter charm of your town. Your gingerbread town is now complete. But let's not stop here. Now let's transform your gingerbread town into a winter wonderland. This is where the real magic happens, folks. First, we'll make snow-covered trees. It's as simple as taking ice cream cones and frosting them with white icing. Don't be afraid to go heavy on the frosting. It's snow after all. And for that festive touch, sprinkle the trees with some edible silver or gold dust. Then, let's create a candy cane forest. Inspired by Nadiya Hussain, we'll insert candy cane trees of varying heights. The contrast of red and white against the snow is simply enchanting. Now, what's a winter wonderland without snowmen? Craft small snowmen using white fondant or icing and place them strategically around the town. And for a touch of whimsy, scatter royal icing snowflakes throughout the scene. Next, we'll add gifts, edible ones of course. You can use candies or fondant to make tiny presents and scatter them around your town. And don't forget those colorful sweets like gummy bears or marshmallows to add a pop of color. Then let's create a winter breeze effect with icing. Using Winter Wonderland icing, pipe patterns across the landscape. For added texture, use a star tip to pipe rosettes or dots. Finally, dust the entire scene with edible glitter for that magical shimmer. Congratulations, you've just built a gingerbread town from scratch. Don't forget to share your creation with us.